what is interesting, this is a case, absolutely radical case of self-learning, because Ankit is first with the incredibly strong motivation. He already has, by now, 2 university degrees. It's a chemical engineering. One of degrees is from some Danish university. The other, hi, Ankit.
Hello everybody.
Hi.
Good evening from India and good afternoon to you in Spain.
Okay. So, you cannot see really the face very well. Why don't you turn that one to the people so that they can... Can you... We know, but I mean the face. It's okay. So, welcome to our event, to our session, Ankit. Yeah?
Hello.
So,
yeah.
I just a little bit will say a couple of words about you. For me, what is unusual, that this is a person who was certainly highly prepared for this kind of design thinking about his own education. And so he had a dream, as he said since long ago, to become a 21st century global management. Look, he obviously made a big search, and he didn't find presidents who ever would give such a course. So he started to design it by himself. He will now, what we have asked Ankit is to give us the detail, because the just data, they are very impressive, but seem almost to be surreal. So much of work, information, knowledge, and everything. But before he goes into the process, one of our questions was, show how you knew, how you looked for, defined the skills, competencies, body of knowledge which you believed was necessary for become something which you can call 21st century global manager. So he will tell about this. Just for being fair, let's say, and give him also our attention to his title. His title is Zero Cost Management Graduate. So definitely the phenomena of the latest year, like massive open online courses and open content, it was which Ankit was based on. But certainly it was enough. You have to have a very disciplined, structured, and already very prepared mind here. The other point, zero cost. This is, Ankit, frankly, I would put question about this and ask you to explain why you think it's zero cost. He spent 2 years on this. So, welcome to presentation. Your own.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ima. And let's not waste much of time, and let's go directly to presentations. Gerard, can you switch on the presentation?
Start.
Can you see the presentation? It's there?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So just go to the next slide, please. Second slide. So as Ima already told, I have like 2 degrees, chemical engineering, both masters and bachelors, one in India, one from Denmark. And from past many years, I have dreamed of becoming kind of a manager on a larger scale to execute complex situations. And along with my educations, I was developing a lot of different soft skills like team working, managing the complex situations, quick decision making. And I also participate in a lot of different competition seminars to develop those soft skills a person at manager level might need. And in 2011, when I've been to European Parliament, I see that I have ability to see things at much higher level, that I can see things at much higher level and can also have an ability to implement those ideas. So in early 2012, I realized that I have potential and I already dreamed of becoming a global manager. So how it can be done and how has to be done? Next slide, please. So I went to I spent like 2 months in idea gathering phase on what kind of skills this global manager has to have. Next slide, please. And in that, I spent I said 2 weeks, sorry, not 2 weeks, 2 months, and I studied a lot of employment survey reports issued by Randstad, Adecco, Manpower, and also studied a lot of organizations reports which tells us what kind of problems we might face in the future, because today business and both management are very much related to the other problems, not just human beings, but other problems related, and we need some different way of looking at it. That's what my perception. And also read different books highlighting the manager issues faced by MNCs when they operate in different geographies. I studied some articles. I also studied Harvard Business Reviews. And since this global program was not visible, I couldn't find that it is there in education curriculum. I taken the inspiration from 2 or 3 programs. The World Economic Forum has a Global Leadership Fellows program, so I took inspiration what they teach over there, how they prepare people to lead in a developing world, and also use the White House Fellows program. They use people to teach diplomacy at White House level. So I used the MIT Sloan School of Management open courseware programs to understand what exactly is the manager education is heading, what they teach. And apart from that, I used a lot of my experience in participating different events, volunteering activities in different countries, both virtually and offline. And at the end of it, I use my own imagination, fitting myself in that global manager's perspective, what kind of skills this person might need. Next slide, please. So sorry? Okay, so next slide, please. The 5th slide, I identified 4 areas a global manager might have. That's my way of looking. First is international economics. Since the outbreak of financial crisis in 2008, I was very concerned that we need to know what's happening at policy level, how the government is moving, because it really affects not just business but at a personal level also. So knowing a bit of this trend of banking, microeconomics, terms like physical deficit, trade, treaties between the 2 countries, it affects a lot, and knowing this can be helpful to those global manager. And the second was just becoming more globalized. Now, the globalization is a big term happening and it's a buzzword, but not many people are telling how to become a globalized person. So I used my positive experience of living in Denmark, that if a person studied slightly more about culture, economy, history of a different place, he can be sensitive towards those people. And if you also learn a language of them, a few words or something about festivals, custom, and also interact with them, he can understand those people's need, and it's very helpful to manage the intercultural team, because the deals has broken down, a lot of misconceptions happen, and it's really important persons to become more cultural sensitive. And of course, the general management, 3 or 4 areas I identified. I didn't study the theoretical managing or leadership because I think I had those skills. And the most important was interdisciplinary studies or future trends. I said that business and management are very much complexly related to a lot of different aspects, like urban planning. Now, urban planning, why I chosen? It's like most of the population in the world are going to live in cities, and it's going to cause some problems in civic administration, like the decision making or utilities. And knowing that planning, or not becoming expert, knowing a smaller part of it can really helpful to organize a workforce. That's I thought. And another was environmental law. Well, although it's still debatable what climate change can bring or not, but the environmental law are going to be more tough. The policies require some kind of clearance, and knowing these can be really helpful for a global manager. And also I tried to study disaster preparedness. This is something I learned when I was going through the crisis happened after the Fukushima disaster and tsunami, and it's happening. The floods are happening in many parts of the world and drought happening. So knowing disaster management can be helpful. And I added new trends like data analytics. I studied the international trade, and of course I was in European Parliament, so a bit of public policy. So these kind of different areas, 4 areas, a person, if he may be called a global manager. That's what I want to develop those skills in myself if I want to become that kind of person in future. Next slide, please. So what I did is I tried to compare skills, what skills I had already and how I want to go. And I faced a very difficult problem that this kind of thing I was aiming is not visible in traditional curriculum. And even if it's available, I may need to wait like it was May 2012. I may have to wait like 1.5 years or maybe more or less, depends, to study in the university. And the biggest problem for me was it's very expensive to go to manager's school. And I have seen a lot of my friends in Spain and other parts that they have not Spain, sorry, in some other parts of the world with having huge education loan. And I certainly didn't want to be a person like that walking with education loan. It was difficult for me to imagine myself. And all I wanted is skills. I already had 2 degrees. I proved myself that I'm a good student. So I was not opting or competing for degree. So I decided to go for setting up my own program. And I went ahead and studied with discipline way for next 2 years. Next slide, please. So how I implemented this idea? Next slide. So I use these public resources, like you can see the newspapers and magazine which is available to everybody, public libraries, and I used the company reports, and I also used some courses to study languages, and extensively use social media. And apart from that, I was very much fortunate, or maybe say lucky, to find MOOC, the Massive Open Online Courses, which were started in 2012 on very experimental basis. So I included them and really found them helpful. And in all, I used around more than 250 websites or resources for my entire program. I'll come back to this later. Can you go to next slide? So you must be wondering how I did it. I mean, it's just like, okay, these are resources anybody can study. So let me explain you a very simple way. Understanding business strategy. This is a very famous concept or very much known concept. So what I did is first, I identify first that where exactly business strategy is used, how it is being used, and how does it affect. And I try to stimulate by thinking like a strategist, how to think. And I spent like 2 to 3 months reading the newspapers, understanding how the company is going. And the same time, I also read company annual reports, like around 30 companies. And I read like 10 years. So from, say, for example, from 2004 to 2014. So what a company was aiming to do in 2004, how they want to be, where they want to be in like 3-4 years. Did they establish or not? What was going on their strategist mind? What challenges they face? How they could establish or not establish? How they could change the directions? And somehow I was able to develop thinking of a strategist, how it has to be. And after that, I studied the courses, like one from MIT Open Courseware and one from Coursera, to understand the toolkits. Of course, I knew what exactly strategy might look like, but it doesn't make sense to present it to bigger audience. So I wanted to study to know the toolkits, how those tools are working, how to present. And I also studied 1 or 2 books to understand those different toolkits. And after that, I did a lot of practice. So the Coursera course has an assignment, and for that I picked up a bank in Africa and did a lot of good analysis on it. I participated in some competitions on this business strategy, and I also advised some of the startups. So it was very much into real work with the transforming knowledge into very much into applications. And apart from that, I also use discussion groups. LinkedIn gives us a lot of discussion groups, and I used to talk to people and interact with them. Okay, how is happening, where it's going, and used a lot of my insights into this to help some people also get their knowledge to modify my concepts. And today, when I am so much immersed into this strategy concept that its toolkits comes later, I can start just thinking in my brain, okay, how it is happening, and it's really enjoyable and to think like that. Next slide, please.
couple of minutes literally to wrap it up, please.
Okay, yeah, just 2 more minutes. So how I just practice the knowledge? You see some of the course areas I did. I tried to immerse into concepts with the course projects and assignments. I also did some side studies or self-initiated projects like in India we have problems stampede in temples. A lot of temples and a lot of people die. So I took this, I took the concept from supply chain operations management and immersed that concept in temple lines. I tried to modify how we can cope up with these problems, and I did some compared analysis of.
Go on. Well, I hope you agree that it's really a radical case. And,
hello. Oh, sorry, it just Skype problem. So can I continue? Okay. So this is how I tried, and I also helped some NGOs. One of them as well helping in Sierra Leone to plan their agricultural activities. I helped a Mexican firm to scale up their demand.
Go on, Ankit. So, of course, while they are restoring thing, every time when we have a new kind of a program like that, you would ask, well, how does it tune into our preoccupation, for example, of the labor market? And what is the goal? I cannot even imagine, and maybe we should ask him about this. What was his idea of his possible job?
Sorry, can I continue?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I was on 10 slide. Okay, and I think I finished anyway last time. So newspaper readings, I was studying the newspaper from 8 to different parts of the world daily, from both from developing and developed nations. And reading those, I tried to understand those financial concepts and economic concept and how it is being playing out. I draw my own conclusions and try to verify with the experts. So this way I was stimulating my thinking and immersed very much into the concepts. Next slide, please. So what is the outcome and relevance? Next slide. It's very difficult to say outcome because I'm so happy that I gained the skills without occurring any debt or taking a loan, and I become what I wanted. It's maybe look difficult for some, but I think I'm happy to be doing this the way I wanted and getting the skills I really desired. And now today I have a network in more than 100 countries, knowledge of different sectors, culture, and I also developed some different tools in the process on how person can understand the managerial things in a simplest way. And today I'm confident facing the complex challenges, and I really wanted to, let's see where I went at. And just one line summary which was told by somebody that just by reading headline of the newspaper today, I can think in 10 different directions, an interdisciplinary person, and really connect those missing dots. Next slide, please. So how it can be relevant to others? I must say that when I started this entire work, it was totally myself, customized. I hasn't thought of that it can be helpful to others until I was interacting with Emma or UNESCO and to the people of UNESCO. First of all, it's the way I did is a very flexible approach. Someone can educate himself using those online courses, and a person can use only minimum resources and can try in real world how it's happening around him to know how these things plays out. And it can be helpful also for future generations because they are more tech savvy. Me and my people coming after me, they are very much into tech savvy, so we can go ahead with blended learning very easily compared to traditional classroom. And it can be, I'm from India, and I've seen a lot of difficulties because of population growth. Universities cannot grow the way population is growing. So this way, blended learning and e-learning can be helpful for people like us in India to educate themselves.
Hi,
Next slide.
Ankit,
There are some limitations.
Me,
Nothing. First of all, a person needs to have internet connections, maybe good internet connections sometime. And like I decided what I wanted to be. Not everyone is able to identify what he wants. So this way of working and discipline way may not work for them. And one of the biggest problem I saw is that major resources are available only in English. So this can be challenging, and there is a lack of awareness about open educational resources, and that's the reason the perception about accepting those online tools, e-learning, is varying across the continents. And I believe that we will be able to do something in future, and UNESCO is doing great, and you people will do something, and open education resources can be helpful to many people like me. And so with this, I like to stop my presentation.
Can you hear me, Ankit?
Yeah. So thank you very much, and you have any questions I'm ready to answer.
Ankit, thank you very much. The people are very welcoming to your presentation. Thanks a lot. And now let us discuss a little bit. Could you please put the slide show back to the page outcomes?
Outcomes, okay.
So, any comments, questions, remarks?
This is Tom Caswell. First, I just want to compliment you on your energy and your enthusiasm and your motivation. I'm so impressed what you've been able to accomplish. My question is, what made you believe that you could do this? What made you have the
audacity? The
audacity. That's the word. The audacity to just do it all yourself. And did you find? It sounds like you did, but did you find all the resources you were looking for?
Well, it was a difficult journey. It's not, I just Googled it and found it. It was like trial and error. So I had to find a resource and just see if it's really applicable to me, and just by gaining knowledge was not sufficient. I had to also figure out how to practice it. So there are resources, yes, just that they are not easy to find out. But if someone is really motivated or wants to find out, yes, he can find out. So yes, I found all the things I wanted, and if nothing I found it, there are people who helped me actually. I asked them,
thank you.
People,
the next
okay,
question,
how to study this. They helped me. So it was very much open source project itself.
Good evening, Ankit. My name is Kathy Ellis, and I spent a month in Calcutta in January working in a vocational college with a number of automotive students.
Sorry, I am not able to get it. Can you repeat?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I spent a month in January working in a college in Calcutta with automotive students. And one of the things that struck me was, because of the economy growing in India, there was a real belief that education would translate into all sorts of positive benefits for the students. So they were very motivated. And your motivation comes across, through Skype. We can feel it, we can touch it. My question to you, though, is, I believe in your background you already have one degree.
Two.
You have two degrees. Yes. So I just wonder whether or not the approach that you've been able to talk us through so well this morning, whether that needs... It can only take place when you've already reached a postgraduate level, and whether or not it's something that could be introduced at further down the sort of progression.
Well, I think me being 2 degrees actually is helpful in taking this risk. Let's say if I was in 2012, if I didn't have any degree, I didn't know that what I was aiming, how it come out that time. So me having 2 degrees was also a kind of helpful in taking this risk. If nothing works out, okay, I can go back always to the degree I have. And I saw some experimental stuff happening in India, and this e-learning is being accepted. But there is I said open education resources are not popular, or people are not aware of it, and making them more aware, spreading the awareness and telling people, okay, there is something for you. If that can happen, and also it can happen in Indian languages, some other language than English, definitely it's possible. Because I came from a very small town. We don't, not many people speak English, and we have a lot of problems of kids dropping out, people studying but not getting jobs because of quality of education is declining. So this online learning can be really helpful. Just that there is a need to tell people, okay, there is a benefit out of it.
Thank you, Ankit. Thank you. So, you want more?
I just wondered, did it change his job? Is he still an engineer? I love this too. I'm wondering, did it change your life? Are you an engineer? What do you work as now? What is your job now?
Are you looking for your job, or you are doing it already?
I provide management consultancies to some startups. Also, currently, I'm writing a book on my entire experiences, and apart from them, I'm a writer. So I also write to magazines. And as you question to engineer, actually, yes, I combine my engineering skills to understand the managerial concept, and also helping some firms. Like the firm in Mexico, it was an agricultural firm. They wanted to scale up and modify their packaging strategy. I used a lot of my chemical engineering background, mixing with those newly acquired managerial knowledge to solve their issue. And I also did same in Sierra Leone, an NGO, where they wanted to improve their agricultural output. So that knowledge comes in handy. So I prefer to say, no, I haven't left the engineering background, but I prefer to say interdisciplinary, mixing both things.
Okay, thank you. Ankit, we unfortunately have to say goodbye to you, but just to
thank you very much.
But just to finish, you are really give us a very inspiring, let's say, case. And please, thank you. I would say that you already have passed with an exam for communication skills. And we understand that actually this project of making that case already can be a project of his future, let's say, occupation for some time. So please keep us updated about your job trajectory, your career, okay? And don't lose contact with us. The people will be able to contact you by the data, different sites and media, which are all published in our website on the speakers page. So thank you so much, and good luck to you in everything.
Yeah, I'd like to say something if I have 2 minutes. Can I say something?
Well,
just 1 minute.
Very brief, frankly.
Yeah.
We are half an hour
I'd
almost.
like to thank Ima, Professor Alberto and Gerard to arrange these presentations. Even I was not there, and also giving me a chance. When I approached you, I thought I'm very young. People who are coming are very well, knowledgeable, very much experienced. So where I will stand. But you gave me a chance to tell my story, and you liked it. I'm really glad, and I'm very thankful to you, and thank you very much.
So, yeah, thank you so much. Bye-bye.